So this is a set of, well, a pair of Brembo calipers here for the front of BMW. The rears are not Brembos. This is a little different style. These ones do not come apart, and they are huge, as you can see. These things are giant. Still just a 4-piston, nothing crazy, but we are going to go through the process of not only doing powder-coated logos, but we're doing a candy on these as well. So we'll get started on them, take you through the whole process. Alright guys, well first things first, of course, we are going to be chemically stripping these using our Express Chem setup. I actually have a big video coming out about that exact setup, or this exact setup. This is after they've been stripped, obviously, and rinsed off, dried of course, plug in all the vital areas. This customer had ground down these a little bit to clearance his wheels, so if you see those grind marks, just understand that's what it is. The front calipers, of course, are just plugged up. Pretty simple, straightforward. The rears required a little bit different masking, which you'll see here, obviously. Remember, when you're doing brakes, you always want to block off the piston area, the bore. You do not want to blast it. That's a machine surface. It's machined for a reason. You definitely don't want to affect whether or not the piston slides in and out easily. Technically speaking, the piston doesn't actually touch the bore. It sits on an O-ring on the inside. That's what the seal is actually on, but it is tolerance to that bore, and there's definitely no point in blasting it. So make sure that you absolutely always mask this off. I've been asked about this a bunch of times over the years, and I can't express, this is somebody's brakes. They're going to need to stop. Make sure you do this correctly. So plugs in these, as you see, blocked off all the ports, all the bleeders. Sometimes I just use old bleeders and tape the ends off, 'cause it's perfect for blocking those threads. I actually also have bolts for blocking those threads. So we got these things ready. We'll start sandblasting them here. I feel obligated now to tell you guys, I blast everything with 3060 green diamond. I get asked every time. I'm going to start telling you every time. This is in a scat blast cabinet. You guys have seen me use a scat blast cabinet for years and years and years, and I absolutely love it. This one is from TP Tools. The previous one I had was also from TP Tools. So be sure to check those guys out. They have a bunch of different cabinet options, different sizes, for whatever your needs require. I'm not really sure why I keep showing these blast videos. They're very boring and they don't show anything, but it is in fact blasted now. So the issue with these is I can't put tape down on here and cut it out. So what I end up doing is making a file. These little circles here out of high temp tape. I'm going to be throwing that on these ones. The rears, obviously I won't be doing that. I actually do have some for this on the rear, but this back masking is going to be a nightmare, so we'll get to getting. I know you guys have seen me use this tape in the past, this like roll of high temp tape that you can cut, different shapes out of on just a traditional vinyl plotter. I get asked often where this is from. It's from Epsi. I cannot find it on their website again, but I know it's there. I'll find it on my phone occasionally when people ask me and send them the link. But every time I go to look for it to put it in a video, I can't find it. But it's there. Epsi sells a ton of masking products for powder coating, and they definitely offer this product. Last time I saw it, actually, it was on sale. And it makes life way easier, especially if you're good at measuring and making files to be able to cut. If you're going to do production stuff or a complex masking, I guess I should say, it makes a ton of sense to cut this stuff out in the high temp tape and then just lay it down. When you're doing brake calipers like this, you can see I cut way more of these than I need, because this tape, it does stick well. There's just not much surface for it to stick to. So as it goes through the oven and heat cycles, it tends to lift a little bit. And what I end up doing between multiple coats is, I guess between each coat when doing multiple coats, I'll just replace that sticker or that, piece of masking if it is in fact lifting up. Sometimes they lift, sometimes they don't. These ones were really hard to squeegee down into, so I just kind of planned on changing them every time, and I had to change, I don't know, about half of them, maybe. This is doing the rear calipers, did the exact same thing. This one was a little easier to squeegee in because I could actually, of course, get a squeegee in. And if you can't tell, I've been spraying white all day while doing these. I got tired of washing my arms, so I blew them off. Good enough for me for right now. As you can see, this is masked off perfectly. Once again, this tape is an absolute lifesaver. This one I'm going to cheat a little bit. I'm going to tape off. This flange is going to suck to try to tape off, and I don't want to. So I tape this off, and I'm just going to vacuum off this little bit. It'll be super quick and easy. And then of course I have more stickers, or more cuts rather, to throw in to this. So we'll do that right now. Alright, so the end goal for these brakes, as you probably saw in the thumbnail, is of course a candy blue, which requires a silver or chrome base, or at least to get the look that we're going for. This guy wanted silver logos, so I ended up doing these in heavy silver as the base. It's probably the base that I choose for candies 90% of the time if I'm not using super chrome. It's a great high metallic. It's very similar to alien silver. I think the coverage for it is a little bit better, so I tend to prefer it over alien silver, but they're both great. Spraying the whole caliper down, because once again, despite the fact that this will in fact have silver logos, the entire candy blue caliper needs a base. So spraying this thing down, we're using the Gema Optiflex 2B. Front calipers here, and then we move on to the rear calipers and brackets. So now's as good a time as any to say, if you guys like powder coating or powder coating content, be sure to hit that subscribe button, turn on all notifications so you get a heads up when we post new videos. Hit that like button. Absolutely helps us as far as boosting the numbers up in the algorithm. Last couple of videos have been doing great. One of them I didn't think would do well at all, and it did quite spectacular. So I have another few videos that are going to be coming out this month, even though this month is almost over. Got a few videos lined up. I am taking a vacation in August, so there's going to be a week that I guarantee you that there's nothing, but you guys are used to that on this channel at this point. So after we flowed out the heavy silver, we of course move on to Pika Blue. I was given kind of free range as to what color to use here, so I showed him a couple options. He seemed pretty stoked on the Pika Blue, but said it was up to me. I went ahead with the Pika Blue. Only sprayed the Pika Blue on the rear calipers, of course, and while those were in starting the flow out process, I started laying down these Brembo logos. Now, the Brembo decals that I'm using here were supplied by the customer. I think he actually sent like 3 different sets, 3 different colors. These are only being used for masking. I've had a couple people ask me, what vinyl do you use that I can put clear over? That is covered in a number of my other videos, but I do want to make very clear that this is just being used for masking. I believe this is Oracal 651. I didn't look at the backing super close, but I believe that's what it was. You'll see me here trying to make sure that you get it lined up perfect on these arched calipers. It's really hard to lay these Brembo things straight across, especially being that the Brembo is kind of taller on the left side than it is on the right side, being with the big circle on the left and then just a traditional O, of course, on the right. So I'm using the micrometer essentially, or the caliper, call it whatever, as a level just to try to see if it's right. Visually, it helps, put a big flat surface across it. Once the logo's down, we're going to be hanging this thing back up. These are a little bit of a nightmare. One thing that I do recommend, and it's weird because this doesn't happen every time, so to avoid it, sometimes when you're pulling the transfer tape off, that's the clear stuff that you see that I'm removing right here, it will leave a little bit of a static charge where you pulled it off. You can alleviate that by just throwing it in the oven. It only has to be in there for a minute or two, and it will dissipate that charge for you. You can also rub a dryer sheet over it and also eliminate that problem. The downside is most dryer sheets have a scent to them, and you can't use scented ones to do that. Hanging these front calipers back up, going of course with the Pika Blue. Want to make sure that we don't get this too heavy. Once again, we already shot the rear, so they definitely need to match those. Plus, you don't want to do a candy too heavy when you're doing a logo pull like this, because you'll run into some various issues with like the edge building. Threw them back in the oven, got them flowed out at least, and I start the pull process here. Now, I thought that I pulled these at the exact right time, and I don't know if it will transfer well in this video. I don't know if you'll actually see how stringy and annoying this was, but there was some strings that go onto the silver, some strings of blue, I should say, as I'm pulling these off. I tried to avoid them as best I could. I don't ever really worry about the strings because I know that I have a way to get rid of them or clean up those logos as best I can. And I'm going to be showing you guys that here. One thing to remember when you're pulling these off is I always use a brand new blade, super sharp, and I just jab the vinyl a tiny, tiny bit and then pull straight out away from it. You don't want to lift like up, I guess, or down, or at weird angles. You want to try to pull out as best you can. That way, if you do get strings, they go away from your logo. Hopefully that makes sense the way I'm explaining it. Once these are all off, of course, I put this back in the oven to flow it out a bit more. But you can see right here how these little areas got, it's not even, it's like it almost got under the vinyl to some degree, but it's not. It's because when I pull it off, it gets a little bit stringy, but the strings are like wide. So this is a Q-tip with denatured alcohol on it. And yes, that will in fact take off uncured powder and not mess up the rest. I've done this countless times. I don't like to do it, obviously. I'd like them to be a nice, perfect, clean pull every time. But I know with certain colors, that doesn't always happen. So this is a great little tip and trick for you guys if you guys ever have this issue. Now, keep in mind, if you get this anywhere near cured, that will not work. So I put those back in the oven, float them out a bit more, pulled them, let them cool, and now we were just going with Bangle Clear from Tiger. The guy wanted, high gloss finish, of course. We need to put some sort of clear on to protect these silver logos. And, ultimately it's brick, so they're going to look even better, more glossy. And as you can see, they turned out great. This is pulled all the masking. You can see all the little green discs and stuff are gone. The color is absolutely amazing. I'm pretty sure I put some video of these from the outside, or put them while outside. Yeah, there it is right there. I wish you guys could see my editing process. The colors came out great. The logos came out great. Super high gloss finish. Got these things packaged up and then sent back out. You can see here my vacuum job also worked like a champ. I didn't record that. I have some other vacuum videos that I'm going to be doing soon enough with some different tools that I've gotten from mostly Amazon, but a couple from some vendors that you guys probably know. You can see, nice, perfect, high gloss finish. These things turned out absolutely spectacular. Once again, I got them packaged up and sent back out to the customer, and hopefully he's going to be enjoying them. Thanks for watching, guys. Can't wait to see you next time.